Hey, you guys want to go see something? I'm building a meth lab. So we're heading into Pebble Beach. I hope it's the Filipino guy. Oh, cool. Yeah. The other guy's a fucking asshole. But this Filipino dude doesn't care who gets in here. I don't know what's going on here. There's some sort of money transaction going on. Maybe I need to get to know this guy. Do business together. Expand our distribution. He's got the double thumbs up. He wants to talk business. All right, so we're in Pebble Beach. I know you're busy, so I'm gonna drive as fast as humanly possible, and we're gonna be there in less than 10 seconds. So hang on tight, because here we go. I don't really smoke, but I figure you gotta have a prop, right? All right, 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, and we are here. This is what I wanted to show you guys. Let's go check out the house, but before I go show it to you up close, I always think it's good when you're looking at a house to get a feel for the situation, right? The location. So this is the street that it's on. It's called 17 Mile Drive. Now, Poppy Hills Golf Course, which is just one of the golf courses here in Pebble Beach, is right over those trees. About another half a mile, then Spyglass Golf Course is on the right. Keep going another mile and a half and you're at Pebble Beach Golf Course. But one of my favorite things is the view across the street, which is all forest. You can do all kinds of stuff. Go hiking, grow pot, murder people, dig a shallow grave. I've never understood shallow graves. Dig it as deep as you fucking can. They act like serial killers are these really smart dudes like Jeffrey Dahmer. Oh wait, he didn't have to dig graves, right? He had a refrigerator. And I'm not saying I'm ever gonna murder anybody. I haven't yet, but nobody has a crystal ball, right? Let's get my dog Mike here. Come on, buddy. And we're gonna go inside. I know you wanna see the house, so we're gonna go take a look at that right now. Here's the front of the house. And over there you can see the guest house and the garage. But what's important about the structure of this house is if you look closely at the foundation, it's a perfect rectangle. Now that's inspired by those modern cabins that you see in Scandinavia. Very modern, minimalistic. So on the outside, like this is plywood right now. You understand that, right? I'm not gonna live in a plywood house. I'm not sure how long that would last. But we're gonna put nice vertical cedar siding boards. And here's what the house is gonna look like. Just like this. Modern cabins throughout Sweden and Norway. They've got wooden cedar planks on the exterior walls, also with a metal roof. We're either gonna go with this very dark brown wood, or we're gonna go with this very light colored wood. As soon as you enter the gate into the property here, you leave the world behind, and the landscaping is going to be so incredible. It's going to be immaculate because I like to do landscaping, so I'll probably do the landscaping. But every detail has to be really, really classy, not for prestige reasons for myself, but for strategic business reasons. You can kind of see that the footage that I'm doing is done on different days. Like today, I'm going with a blue vinyl house with white writing on it. All right, so we're standing out in front of the house Here's the house from the street. Right about here is where you press in a code and a metal gate swings open, and there's a nice fence that's going to be built along here. This orange netting is where the fence is going to be, because you need this space right here between the road and the fence so that the cars pulling in, my friends coming over to get drunk and lie to each other about stuff, have a place to pull off. This will be nice asphalt right here. But then when you go through the gate, the driveway is gravel. Now, it's not this gravel. This is shitty gravel. This is just gravel for filling in holes. It's going to be a nice European-like tannish gravel. And all the space that you see on the ground is going to be mostly gravel all over the whole property, because the whole concept of this property is that it's a private oasis. So once you drive in through that front gate, you're leaving the world into this magnificent private garden that's all your own. That sounds pretty good for a meth lab, right? But I'm doing more stuff with this than a meth lab. For example, I'm going to be having 4 fat golfers who slice the ball. Different groups of 4 golfers flying in from different parts of the country. Cincinnati, Cleveland, Roanoke, Virginia. Because Pebble Beach is a golf destination, which is what this is, in addition to a meth lab and also where I do my work as a gigolo. There's plenty of uses for this property, but mainly it's going to be for golfers. They'll show up Friday night, stay through Sunday, and that's why I got the little ADU in there where I can camp out while they're staying in the main house. You know, different groups, they'll fly in just 2 weekends a month and write me a check for whatever I would tell them to write it for, because I have a 45 with a silencer, and I'll tell them that no one knows they're here unless they write the check and the amount that I tell them. This is the contractor right here. I'm not even sure if he's really a contractor, because you guys know the reputation. When you're getting ready to build a house, right? Your friends tell you, like, be careful, man. Interview different contractors. So this guy is so cool that it's hard to believe that he's a contractor. So this is Ben, and the problem with contractors is they can kick your ass. And so that's why I've been taking
jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I saw you in class the other night.
Yeah. All right, so it's a few days later now, and we're making some progress. See the exterior wall here? Remember when it was blue? That blue stuff like that? We're finally putting the cedar siding on there. Yep, that's cedar boards on the siding. That's not plywood, that's the real deal. But it's not gonna be this color. We gotta put a stain over it. And what I'm thinking that we're gonna go for is, you see the bark on these Monterey pine trees? It's a grayish brown. That's gonna be the color of the wood. So you take the natural color off that tree and you put that as the staining on the wood. Because I think it's cool to blend a house in with this environment. See, here's a couple cedar planks right here. Tongue and groove. I don't know why this has to be called a tongue. Whoever came up with tongue, I think, has a filthy mind, especially tongue and groove. But I suppose you want to see the inside. That's the front door, and you see this concrete landing that you step up onto. And then we have this nice awning on the top. And what's cool is inside the awning, there's can lights that shine down. And there'll be a nice row of plants, and the light will shine down nicely onto the plants. And then over there is the entrance to the ADU/garage. Trust me, that's a garage and an ADU. My car is gonna park there. And then I got my bed, refrigerator, shower, sink, plutonium containers. Now this concrete landing, I think is beautiful. It's gonna be kind of troublesome though when they come to get me on a gurney. When I call 911, I tend to like to call 911 for myself, for minor ailments. We're gonna enter the front door. Mike, you wanna come in? So this is the main great room. Okay, we just entered the front door. Notice the floor is all concrete, and that's the far end of the house. Let me insert what it's gonna look like when it's finished. See, this is from a real Scandinavian cabin. It's gonna have the feel and look of the modern minimalism of this photo, but of course my house is gonna have its own style. This will be the refrigerator right here. Countertops. Here's some samples of what the entire countertop that goes across here is gonna be. I think I'm gonna go with the dark one. And that way I can spill stuff and never have to clean it up, like red wine, blueberries, preparation H, cyanide. It's not a huge refrigerator, and that's okay. It keeps all your food cold, but instead of for $2,000, it does it for $800. And then just to the left of it is one of the bedrooms. You see it's got these nice vertical windows in here, concrete floor, and it's about the size of a hotel room. So you got a double bed here, you got a double bed there, sleeps two, and there's not going to be any monkey business. They're here to play golf. They can do all the monkey business they want when they get back home to their wife and that chick at the office. And then here's the bathroom that goes with this bedroom here. It's got a nice window in it. The sink is pretty modern. And then here's the shower. See, the tiles are already in here. The concrete goes all the way into the shower. It slopes downward into the drain. That's the drain. Now notice how high the shower is. I may have NBA players taking showers over here. I'm gonna go around to high schools and I'm gonna adopt every kid on the basketball team that's 6'9" and over. I'm gonna adopt them, that's right, yeah. And then screw college, and they're going straight into the NBA. I'm guaranteed several million. Okay, but there's a more important reason that the shower is very high. And that's because I may need to be floating up there really high, looking down at my body. Because you know how near-death experiences? I figure as I get older, the chances of me slipping and falling in the bathroom increase dramatically. And so right here on the floor of the bathroom is probably where I'd slip coming out of the shower, hit my head on the porcelain, I'd be laying there. And then my spirit, or my soul, or whatever, or my energy, whatever you call it, needs to float pretty high so it can look down at the body. Because isn't that how it works? Now we're heading back out into this great room. If this is all the kitchen stuff with the refrigerator, then on that side, that's where the flat screen TV will be on the wall, right? We'll have a couch right here and a couple of armchairs, and my guests, golfers, they'll be sitting here watching sports on TV. He didn't have both feet in bounds. And then if we keep going past the flat screen TV, we have another bathroom here. So this is the bathroom that's actually for this bedroom. So this bedroom is the same thing as that last one that we just saw, just on the opposite end of the house. This bathroom is also the bathroom when people are over, when I have company, and 2 or 3 people want to come in here for about 3.5 minutes, lock the door, and then sneak back out, wiping their noses off, and mingle back into the crowd. So from the front door, we can see that the ADU and the main house are detached. That's important because if you think about the typical American house in a typical American subdivision, the garage is always attached to the house. But when you have a detachment, that's another point of class. And notice how I keep mentioning these different points of class. I'm not doing this for prestige, it's all strategic because I'm trying to survive. This is not some dude trying to have a fancy house. This is a dude trying to make sure that I die on a mattress instead of behind Safeway or Ralph's or something. And there's gonna be a nice fence, but with vines growing on it. So it's gonna look really nice, but it's gotta be pretty high. I'm walking around in the windows with my junk hanging out, and some couple is driving by. The woman gets freaked out. The husband gets excited because he's deeply closeted. They have a wreck, and then I gotta call 911. That's why the fence has to be pretty high. Now we're going past the ADU into the backyard. Now look how spacious the backyard is. I love this. This is where it's going to really come alive because there's going to be a huge green lawn, like golf course grass, and I'll have a little putting green and you can practice chipping. And there's going to be beautiful hedges around here with colorful flowers, tulips in the spring. So now we're looking at the back of the house. Now that black roof is going to look awesome when we get brown wood on the exterior. So see how cool it looks with the ADU and the house, 2 separate units. This is where grass would be, practicing their chipping even though they're drunk. It's evening time. So here's what it looks like from the back. Now let me insert a picture of what it's going to look like when it's done. Out here, you step out onto a deck, but I'm standing too low, and plus it's overcast right now. There's clouds out there. You can't see the ocean. But on a clear day, when you're standing up high on the deck, you see the whole Pacific Ocean. I mean, you could probably wave to that fat kid who's in charge of North Korea. Hey, bro. You know, the guy that did that Gangnam Style video? Whoop 'em Gangnam Style. That guy, I guess he went into politics. So you step down onto a little area of gravel, modern chairs, and in the middle will be a square concrete fireplace. You know, that really trendy kind. Little flames coming out of gas tubes. Because when these guys are sitting out here in the evening around this thing, they're going to be drunk, right? That's when I'll come walking around the corner and hit them up to write me the check. Well, they're going to get a couple decimal points wrong to the right because they're in such a good mood, on vacation, a break from their wife. Guys that age, we're talking, 32 to 48 years old. Middle managers, guys who aren't thinking. They're not using their heads about their retirement. Just like me, we had 100 people in my high school class, and they actually ranked us academically. So out of 100, I was number 59. I don't even think I'm in the triple digit IQ club. Some of you aren't either. So don't worry. If you don't have your retirement plan in place, you can do this. So I got the Airbnb, which is cash flow. Cash flow is better than if I had been responsible as a middle manager and saved up like $1 million in my 401k. I don't know if that would have been a good idea. So these guys are 60. They got $1 million in their 401k. Now they're in a race. They're in a race to see if they can die before that $1 million runs out. How long is $1 million going to last in what we've done to this country? I mean, 5 years? All right, so to you guys who did the seemingly responsible thing, which is build up $1 million in your 401k, I would highly encourage that you start investing that, okay? Try to multiply it, grow it. Don't let it sit there because that shit's gonna run out before you die. I'm a dumb guy. See, it's kind of weird. You can be so dumb that it goes full circle and you start thinking of shit. It's like when a wolf is cornered, he suddenly, or she suddenly starts coming up with ideas that she never would have had. So for you dumb people, you have hope, and for you smart people with the $1 million in cash, you better get a little bit smarter and multiply that cash. All right, I'm just trying to help. Yeah, because cash flow lasts forever. A chunk of cash just sitting there is going to run out before you die. The other side hustle that I was going to add to the meth and the Airbnb, I was thinking gigolo, because that was one of my favorite movies as a kid. Remember when Richard Gere did that movie American Gigolo? See, I was 14 or 13 at that time, and I tried it. For some reason, I wasn't able to generate business with 45-year-old cougars with money when I was 13, even though I wore a nice blazer and everything. And then now, see, I think I missed the entire window because now I'm 59. Who wants to pay a 59-year-old guy to be a gigolo? Me taking my clothes off, they're going to have to get past laughing for a few minutes, right? So I don't think gigolo is going to work. I missed the whole fucking window. If I was going to do it, it would have been around age 25, and even that would have been questionable. Hey, Mike, come on, man. We're taking off. Come on, buddy. Good boy. All right. All right, well, thanks for joining me, you guys. Now you've seen the house. All right, so you guys ready for the tour? I'm a pretty shitty tour guide, but I know Pebble Beach. So I'm confident this is the best tour of Pebble Beach ever in the history of YouTube. And here we go. We're on 17 Mile Drive. It's the same street that I live on, except we just drove down the hill toward the ocean. Ever notice tourists, when they ask where the ocean is, they don't realize that all they have to do is go downhill? Because I'm pretty sure you don't go uphill to an ocean. I'm no scientist, but I just believe that the ocean can't be higher than where you're standing. Now we're still on 17 Mile Drive, the same street that my house is on. And this, my friends, is Spanish Bay. We are over on the northernmost part of Pebble Beach. And right in front of us is the inn at Spanish Bay. What's cool about Spanish Bay, it's one of the only beaches in this whole area with surfable waves. The only problem is you gotta not mind being eaten by a shark, because this bay is filled with great white sharks. Between the Monterey Peninsula to San Francisco is the most densely populated area of great white sharks of anywhere in the US. And you're looking at it. But what's handy about that is if life ever gets too rough, you're getting sick of things, all you got to do is swim out there a few hundred yards and the great white sharks will just have a nice lunch. And do them a favor, get drunk before you go out there, because great white shark enjoys a nice buzz just like everybody. So that's Spanish Bay, and now we're leaving Spanish Bay and just driving along 17 Mile Drive, the same street that my house is on. You see those houses up there? So my house is in the trees behind those houses, and we took 17 Mile Drive down. It just curves in an oval, and then curved around, saw Spanish Bay, and now we're coming back, headed away from Spanish Bay and toward Cypress Point. You see that thing that looks like an island? Just below and to the left of the sun? That's called Bird Rock, even though it should be called Seal Rock. That's why Central California is the most densely populated area of great white sharks. We have such an abundance of seals. Okay, perfect. This is it. Now there's too many witnesses, but I would just, if it was a little darker, I'd have two right there. Because those guys aren't just bikers. I got nothing against bikers, okay? But those fuckers, I know for a fact that they're a part of the Silicon Valley invasion of stock option little fucking twerps. Came in here with their $100 million, drove up prices so sky high, and that people like me who grew up here, it's almost impossible for us to move back home. And to make matters worse, look, I'm gonna pull over because I got a rant about this. So it's nothing against bikers. It's whatever that generation is where you have 100 million in stock options from Apple. They're invading our land, which we rightly stole from the Native Americans, and we rightly stole it from Mexico. And the nerve of these hypocrites from Silicon Valley to come in and steal my land. So my first thought was, I got to do this OJ style, because murder is legal now in California, right? Just start bumping these guys off one by one, with a 45 and with a silencer, just because I'm a considerate person. I don't want to make a lot of noise in the neighborhood. I try to be a good neighbor. But I think I'm just going to keep it simple. Look, there's one now. All right, so this could not be worse timing, because that's Cypress Point Golf Course, which I was just about to show you. But now Stock Option Boy is going to have a little meeting with my right front fender. All right, did you hear the sound? It's called Fender Bender number 7. In my editing program, there's a bunch of sound effects, and that was the closest one I could find to automobile fender bumping into fat guy's leg. I got to interrupt myself here because this is Cypress Golf Course. Not only the best golf course of the 6 in Pebble Beach, but it's generally agreed it's the most well-designed, the most creatively designed, and the most beautiful golf course on earth. Now, Augusta is a goat track compared to Cypress Point. Now, how about y'all stick that in your amen corner? So now we're entering the Cypress area, and this is still 17 Mile Drive. And that's why Cypress Point Golf Course is called Cypress Point. Because all these trees are cypress trees, whereas the rest of Pebble Beach is Monterey pines. I'm sure that was like critical information for you to know. So here we are now headed into the dark part of Pebble Beach. It's just a little part where all the trees are cypress trees suddenly. And this is where the homes get nice. Like, that's my friend Pete Incavilla's house. He was a professional baseball player, major league for 12 years. He hit 300 home runs. You know, he's exactly my age. So we all knew him growing up because this is a small town. And even back then, he was the best athlete. As a little kid, he was jacking him out of the park all the time, like every time he was at bat. This is where the real estate gets real pricey. So I don't get what the relationship is between cypress trees and having to pay 1,000 times more for a house. I don't need cypress trees, but it's pretty beautiful down here. I would say in the United States, I mean, there's a few just superb neighborhoods that are unmatched. Cypress Point, parts of the Hamptons. Now you hear all that heavy breathing behind me? That's Mike. He's breathing heavily like that because he knows that when we go this way, that we're going to his favorite beach. Oh, here's something. Yeah, here we go. Private drive, no entry. But we're gonna go down here and see if anybody's here. Now, can you guess whose house this would be? I guess nobody's here. I thought Allison and Stacy might be here because Allison's up here a lot now. This is Clint's first house in Pebble Beach, and so it was the house where when Allison and her brother were born, and this is where they grew up. And it's got a lot of acreage. Their childhood was spent playing in the woods of this property. But nobody's there. Hey Mike, thanks for the the heavy breathing. It's a nice background rhythm. I think Mike could join a band. He's got perfect timing for the rhythm section. So this little section of 17 Mile Drive here has what are the most expensive houses in Pebble Beach. And one of these houses is the house of Charles Schwab. And I gotta find him because I'm gonna kick his ass. If I can, that is. I mean, you're gonna read about it. And I hope the headlines are corrupt brokerage owner Charles Schwab gets ass kicked by younger man in Pebble Beach. That's what I'm hoping for. But what if the headlines read, 90-year-old businessman Charles Schwab beats the shit out of a much younger man. And then they show my face, like one of those mug shots. Shoot, me and Schwab could even set up a fight on pay-per-view. I'm young enough to be his son, so I'm gonna let him survive round 1. If it's on pay-per-view, I'm gonna let him get through round 2. And since the viewers ain't watching for free, I'm gonna let him get through round 3. But when we get to round 4, that motherfucker's hitting the floor. It's gonna be like the Rumble in the Jungle or the Thriller in Manila. Except it's going to be Schwab's ass is toast on the California Central Coast. So this mess right here is a bunch of people trying to take a look at the cypress tree. You know, the lone cypress? You heard of that? The one that's in about 80 million Japanese cameras. We're going to go take a look at it right now. Let me get Mike. Come on, buddy. All right, Mike, you ready to go see the lone cypress? I think it's the most famous tree in the world. So we're standing at the top and you can see the ocean down there. And behind me is the Lone Cypress, but you can't see it unless we walk down these stairs here. So we're gonna do that now. Can you make the stairs? I don't know if I can, but I bet you can. See, it's a lot of work. Look how much work I'm doing for you folks. Going down these stairs just to get this footage of this tree. This is first class service. All right, we're almost there. These are all the nice folks also here to see this tree. And there it is. And that's just the remnants of it. You see that little branch on the lower left? That got broken off. Now, this is the Pacific Ocean, and about 80 nautical miles up that way, that's north, that's San Francisco. And about 400 nautical miles south, you're gonna get to LA, then San Diego, and then Tijuana. That's your hometown, Mike. Look down the coast and you can see your hometown, because you're from the streets of Tijuana. You're a Tijuana street dog. But you know what? You're not the only Mexican in Pebble Beach. You know who else lives up here? Comedian George Lopez. Remember? He's our favorite guy. You know, Mike, he's the one where I'm always laughing my ass off, and you like the music. All right, so we're leaving the Lone Cypress and continuing on with our tour of Pebble Beach. And yeah, George Lopez, he's another interesting character that lives in Pebble Beach. Pebble Beach thought there were no Mexicans. Now they gotta deal with me, man. I'm changing the culture. Plus I got a Chihuahua and shit.
And I wanted a Chihuahua, so he goes from a duplex to Pebble Beach. A house in Pebble Beach. Ay, muy chingón Pebble Beach, hombre.
Now, if I can meet him, then me and him together can disrupt this motherfucker. I'll put hydraulics on my Toyota. I gotta ask George though, you know, does that work? Does it have to be an Impala? Oh wait, let me slow down a second. I gotta show you something. I used to not mind being broke, but whenever I see this house, now it's a huge problem. Now I need $30 million. All because of this goddamn house. So I'm asking for your help. Look, forget cancer, homeless people, starving kids in Africa. Put all that charity shit on hold. I'm begging you, have a heart. I need this house. Just hit the GoFundMe link below. 30 million. That's all I'm asking. 20 million for the house and 10 million for property taxes, upkeep, and I'm probably going to need a Bentley and a shitload of blow. So let's just make it 35 million. Come on, folks, have a heart. Just a few thousand from each of you, and we got this. And you know who probably lives here? I don't even have to guess. It's for sure one of these tech nerds from fresh out of Palo Alto. Yep. Started out writing code. Pretty soon cashed in about 100 million in stock options. Apple, Facebook, Google, who knows? And now he's got this place. And he was a nerd. Type of kid that had his nose in his iPhone constantly. Never knew how to throw a baseball, but his thumbs could go 1,000 miles an hour on his iPhone. Yeah, he just spent his life on his iPhone. Classic nerd. But the nerds are taking over. Yep. But with your help, we can get this GoFundMe thing to get me into this place. And then, of course, y'all are invited. You know that, right? But yep, it's the invasion of the nerds. But you know what? How do I know I'm not a nerd? Heck, I used to watch Star Trek. But the TV shows were just better back then, in the 70s and the 60s. And nothing had to make sense. Like the hills that surrounded the set of MASH. That was so Southern California. The hills out in Malibu. There's no chance that was Korea. But it was fine. Gilligan's Island, one of my favorites. Did you notice how their clothes were so clean every day, freshly washed? And the set was indoors. And it was all okay. And I loved Sanford and Son, just because of how unwoke it was. Just all the subtle shit that was allowed. Like the way Lamont stuffed. He was clearly stuffing, right? And how about Lost in Space? About an older gay man and a 12-year-old boy together in space. But that is woke. That show was ahead of its time. And Star Trek too. Sulu was the guy who drove. And this wasn't even a minivan. This was the Starship Enterprise. And Sulu was driving. Think about that for a second. And the chief engineer of the engine room was an alcoholic. How many crates of single malt did Scotty have back there? Mr. Scott, we need more power. Aye, Captain, but our engines can't take it. 'Cause he was drunk. He was Scottish. Nothing mattered back then. Hell, Greg Brady was sleeping with his mom. And the music was better too. If anyone even tries to compare Taylor Swift to Jimi Hendrix or Janis Joplin, I'll slap. I will slap. Now we're saving the best for last. This is Pebble Beach Golf Course. We're going to take a look at the golf course. I'm talking quietly. Look how big the guy in the white shirt is. We just missed him teeing off. God damn it, I wish I could have caught footage of him teeing off. How about this? Let's take a look at this guy. Oh yeah. His swing was almost as good as Charles Barkley's. Almost. Listen to me making fun of that poor bastard's swing. How do I know he didn't get his femur blown off by a landmine in Vietnam while serving his country? Meanwhile, I haven't done shit for this country. Except not procreate. Yeah, that's what we need. More hairless apes about to kill each other over pronoun usage. Bruce Jenner. Barbara Jenner? I don't know what the fuck his name is. Who gives a shit? Okay, we're at the lodge now. The famous Pebble Beach Lodge, where the rooms look like slightly cleaner versions of apartments in a crack neighborhood. Except here they charge $1,500 a night. Which sounds expensive, but it's what you spend at the grocery store these days for 9 items. Now we're at the main lodge, and these are just gift shops, aka jobs for billionaires' wives to feel like they have a purpose. But here's the main lodge. It was built around 1910 for the rich folks of the time. Anyway, let's go check out the 18th green. You can't park around here, but I'm going to show you the local secret parking spot. Just swing around the side here and down this little hill. There's the Pacific Ocean. There's the 18th green. And we just pull into one of these spots for the people staying in these rooms. And now we're going to go check out the 18th and 17th holes. So we drove down behind the lodge. There's the back of the lodge. Remember, we were just looking at the front of it. From the back, it looks a lot bigger, doesn't it? But let me show you something where I'm totally not even kidding. Do you see this beach down here? This is the most ridiculous thing about Pebble Beach. Do you see those pebbles? Those are pebbles. And those are pebbles. And those are the only pebbles on any beach in Pebble Beach. All the beaches around here, there's not a single pebble except for here. That is why this entire town is called Pebble Beach, because of those 2 patches of pebbles. But I got a theory on why the entire town is called Pebble Beach based on just those few pebbles right down there. And that's because the lodge back there was built a long time ago, before automobiles. It was built in the late 1800s or right around 1900. So the way into Pebble Beach was on a long trail in a carriage or on a horse, and there was no civilization down here. So the fact that there was nothing except a lodge and a trail for carriages and horses, this beach was all there was as far as tourist attraction. There's about 5,000 people that live in this community. The whole thing is now named after those few pebbles right there, because that was the only thing the wealthy pioneers that took a tour to the Pebble Beach Lodge had to look at. I bet you they went down here in those bathing suits, you know, that didn't show body parts, you know, where the women's bathing suits. You really couldn't catch a nice glimpse of anything on a woman's body in those old bathing suits, but I bet you they were frolicking around here. So that's why it's called Pebble Beach, even though there's really no pebbles. But let's have a look at the 18th hole. I bet you've never seen it this up close. See the 18th hole behind me? The tee box is way back there, right by my ear. So those guys are about to tee off. Those guys that we just saw, the big guy in the white shirt and the guy that had a swing like Charles Barkley. I think I already see the guy in the white shirt, the big guy. Oh man, that's what we can do. I'll tell you what. So we're gonna walk up the hill to the lodge, and then what we'll do is I'm gonna try to get us walking down that cart path in the opposite direction so we can film that huge guy. I keep saying huge, why don't I just say what I want, which is fat. It's one of the fattest guys I've ever seen in real life. Like, you know that guy that spent most of his time in bed, and he had an assistant who would deliver $1,000 worth of McDonald's food at each meal to his bed? So this is like if that guy finally found the strength to come out and play golf. So it's actually worth it to go see this guy tee off, because you never know. He might be able to use his momentum, because I know some good golfers. I have some good friends who are really, really good golfers, and they carry some extra weight, and I'm sure that they know how to use that as leverage in their swing. And there's the lodge. I don't know where ABC probably sets up their camera right in front of the lodge, and they probably set one up in that tree right there so they can get the close-up shots of the putts. Now, these are possibly the most expensive homes in Pebble Beach. As we walk toward the tee of the 18th fairway, this is the 18th fairway. So this house looks like it's under repair. It's been hit by so many golf balls that the whole house just had to be rebuilt. But what I'm saying is, how am I going to afford one of these houses? And why do I need one? Because I'm not trying to impress chicks anymore. So that brings us back to the question, why do I need one of these houses? Well, I guess I just answered my question. I don't need one of these houses. Phew. That takes a lot of the work away. Now I don't know what I'm going to do with that fentanyl supply I just got shipped in. What am I going to do with that? I don't need to sell it now, because I was going to sell that so I could buy one of these houses on the 18th hole of Pebble Beach. I think I wanted a house like this when I was younger, because when you're young, you feel romantic. And can you imagine how romantic it would be to stand out there with like the love of your life? And for me, it would be a woman. I think I'm allowed to say that. I'm allowed to say that I identify as male. And look at this goddamn house. This thing's even presenting its windows right there for the guys on the tee box. I mean, it's just saying, here, hit me. But I bet you that's golf ball proof glass. I bet you anything it is. Yeah. This is one of the most spectacular 18th holes, one of the most spectacular finishing holes in professional golf. When they have the US Open here or the PGA. Okay, now here's the big guy. Found him. He's the one pulling up his shorts. See that? He's walking over to the green. I hope that's his tee shot. I mean, I want to feel happy for the guy. That guy was 30 yards short of the green, and this is a par 3. All right, and there's Big Boy. Big Boy he didn't even concentrate. He's not focusing. He could have parred that hole if he would have put a little more focus into that chip. He won't even line up his putt. He didn't look at his putt from any different angle, and look what he just did. And he putted while the flag was in. See, he's putting out a turn too. He's putting while the other guy's still in the sand trap. I swear to God, he's done with this round. He's completely finished. He's thinking about a steak right now. That's what it is. He doesn't give a damn if he quadruple bogeys this hole. He doesn't give a damn what he shoots on the 18th. In fact, he's going to take one of these carts and say, I'll see you guys up at the restaurant. And he's already called his steak in. Rare. Half alive. Make sure it still has a pulse. And make it the biggest one you got. Let me get up here and see. Your average, okay, fairly decent golfer can hit a 6-iron. That guy's pretty good. That guy doing a practice swing. He had a good swing. This guy's got a good swing. That's why I had to get it.
He does have a great swing.
Yeah. You do too. I saw you practicing.
Oh, thank you.
Heavy D just went over and took a leak over that little fence. I guess that's all right. I mean, what are you supposed to do, right? I mean, the guy's got to go. Guy's got to go. His raw steak is getting cold up there at the restaurant, at the lodge. Now that you've seen the 18th hole and you saw the 17th hole, which was that par 3 where I shot the guy teeing off, I know how to not bother golfers because I was born with a golf club in my hand. I came out of the womb at the hospital here with an entire set and a golf bag in my hand. The doctors were surprised. And then I think my dad started to feel inadequate and a little bit jealous of the golf bag. So we just saw 2 important holes, the 18th and the 17th, the little par 3 where Heavy D didn't focus at all on his little chip shot nor his putts. When I play a course like this, I refuse to get put with strangers because my blood pressure wouldn't be able to handle a guy like Heavy D putting out of turn like that. Mainly because I don't think I could take him. He looks like one of those guys that played in the NFL as a lineman. So we're almost back at the lodge. Now we're gonna go to probably the most important hole to see in person, and that would be the first hole. And the way there is to go through the lodge. All right, so we're at the lodge. There's the hotel rooms that are my competition. Then the 18th hole. And then here's a bunch of people who could die wealthy, but they're not going to because they're spending their money now instead of investing it. Instead of walking Mike here up through those stairs, because I don't feel like having some kid in a uniform come up to me and say, "Excuse me, sir, but there's no dogs allowed up here," which could lead to him with a broken jaw and then me in jail for the night. And then what's poor Mike gonna do? So we're gonna do the smart thing and go around. We're gonna go around the kid in the uniform that's gonna come up and get a broken jaw. Or then he just gets me in one of those complicated mixed martial arts holds and then I'm out. then he goes to jail. Hey, maybe that's a good idea, Mike. Let's go back and do that. No. Let's go look at the first tee. All right, so we essentially went through the lodge, but we went around it. So here we are at the front again. Okay. So I was going to go through that door, but that's where the fights would have ensued. Arrests would have happened, ambulances would have shown up, policemen would have shown up, all kinds of people would have shown up. So this is the practice green. Now, as a kid, I used to work here because my parents had this awful attitude that I had to earn my own way. Like they weren't going to spoil me. I was trying to get my dad to buy me a Raiders helmet because this is Northern California. This is when the Raiders were in Oakland, right? I kept saying, can I have a Raiders helmet? And he kept saying, yeah, well, why don't you go mow some lawns or something and get yourself a Raiders helmet? So that was their attitude. So I got a job here when I was about 15 at Pebble Beach golf course, just doing everything that a 14-year-old was allowed to do, like serving tequila shots in the bar. That's when I was trying to be a gigolo, and which didn't work, even though I bought myself a nice blazer. Now this guy right here, that's the guy that I either would have knocked out or he would have got me in a chokehold for having Mike inside the lodge. Now we're at the first hole. The tee box is right behind this wall that features this statue that was either made by a really shitty sculptor or it's of some amazing golfer who managed to win a major without having arms. Well, we got Jack Nicklaus here. Some birds did a little damage. Somebody's got to come down here and clean this up. This is not respectful. I mean, is Jack Nicklaus and his family happy about this mess on him? No. What's this? I didn't even know my math teacher played golf. Damn. He won the US Open. Who's this? I don't know who this is. He must be good though, because he won a US Open here. David Letterman? I didn't know he played golf either. Yeah, that was when he looked young, before the beard. Right? And then, shoot, I thought Boris Becker played tennis. All right, so we got to go above that little awards wall to see the first tee. So here's the first tee of Pebble Beach Golf Course. There's the fairway, and you can't see the green from here because it's a slight dog leg right toward the end. It's only a par 4, so this is probably the easiest hole on the course. That's kind of nice actually of Pebble Beach. Pebble Beach is probably one of the top 3 most famous golf courses in the world, and that's the clubhouse. That's it. After they stop laughing, maybe I can keep talking. So that's where I would go in to pick up my paycheck for, like, I don't know, $300 a month. They give you an easy shot off the first hole because it's just a wide, like you could tee off blindfolded and probably land on the fairway. All you got to do is land on that patch. See that big ass open patch? All you got to do is land there. And then you got a pitching wedge or a 9-iron into the green. I don't know if that was designed purposely, you know, to just give people a little confidence off the first tee, get them in the rhythm to play well in the rest of the round, or it could go the other way. If you actually blow it on the easiest hole of this entire golf course, on the first hole, you're probably gonna have a shitty round psychologically for the rest of the round. But so here we are, walking up the first hole of Pebble Beach golf course. Here's some more rooms. These are more newly built, so they probably cost a little more than the GNP of Venezuela. They probably cost maybe the GNP of British Honduras. Is that a country anymore? I don't know. I used to like to look at the world map of all the weird countries, like Chad. That country has a funny name compared to the names around it. The names around of the countries around Chad end in a vowel. You know, Nigeria, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, all that shit. And then there's Chad. Like, why wasn't it named Greg or Jim or Dave? You know, they named it Chad. Oh, look, deer. Let me show you guys the deer. See, there's still wildlife in Pebble Beach. But you see what I mean? Let's look back at the first tee. All you got to do is hit a mediocre shot just somewhere out here. And then you got, well, it looks more like a 7-iron now into the green. I think that's a better strategy than trying to hit a really long drive up here. You want to reach this bottleneck area just so you can hit a pitching wedge, because chances are you're going to be hitting it out of this bunker like Burnett, or off that cart path, dropping it off that cart path. But look at the deer. See, the deer's not afraid of Mike. Isn't that cool? There's Mike and there's the deer. Isn't that neat? See? No, we're leaving. We're leaving. We're leaving. I'm scared of the deer. We're leaving. We're leaving. We're leaving. We're leaving. We're leaving. See, they were protecting their babies. That was good. That was good. Good parents. Good parents right there. Protecting their babies. I've seen the way that deers fight. I know that plural for deers does not have an S. But I'm just throwing that in there because sometimes I don't know. I'm not that academically inclined. Sure, I've read some books in my life. I've read at least 4 or 5 novels. For sure. And I'm not trying to brag either. The deer are way back there now. My heart rate's back down because I didn't know what was going to happen. They knew Mike was a predator. Those deers have done their biology. They saw his canine teeth. They knew I was vegan though. I think that's why they gave us a break. That's why they didn't do their style of fighting, which is essentially a form of slat fighting. And their hooves go really quickly, like faster than my hands could slat fight. So I don't think I would do very well against them. So I think you guys have seen enough of Pebble Beach. I think I'll leave you off with one last look at the first tee box and a look up the fairway of the first hole at Pebble Beach. And there you go. Thanks for joining me, you guys. I had a good time. I hope you enjoyed it too.